this. You get the HBU experience. You learn about the history, and there's the homecomings, and there's all those different activities. But it's a big networking plateau. You meet so many people that can get you connected to other people who look like you that can help you get there. So when you got to Norfolk State, tell me about your experience at the school.
Okay. To be honest, it was a culture shock for me.
I can imagine coming from
Hickory, and the first day on campus, I get on campus. No,
tour. You were
the
freshman
tour
orientation,
fooled
right?
me. No, the tour fooled me because it was concentrated. It was only small groups for the tour. So, okay, this is cool.
You went the freshman
The
orientation?
first, yeah, that was all good because it was small groups.
Mine
or
was
whatnot.
packed.
See, they didn't do it like that then.
Oh, okay. Mine was packed.
Well, unless I didn't go to one, but the one I went to was very small, networking. Went to music building, talked to all the professors, all that kind of stuff. Maybe because I was a commuter as well. I wasn't on campus.
No, did you start? I'm saying you started in the Wilder building, where you see all them people. Your student orientation must not have been that big.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
Mine was packed. We broke up into small groups.
But mind you, I told you this was their initiative. So I think each year it got bigger and bigger.
Okay.
My year wasn't as big.
05 was huge.
So my very first day on campus, I pull up, I'm like, it really is black. I ain't even gonna lie. That was my first thought. Like, wow, it really is black here. And I laughed. I'm like, okay, this is different. Because mind you, come from Hickory, and it's usually the polar opposite. I'm like, okay.
Other side of the spectrum.
Way different. Right. But, and I was, I thought I looked fresh, but they was like, oh, when I got to the choir, they're like, oh,
what did you wear?
I had on, this was the age of the button-ups, untucked with the jeans and like your Air Forces or whatever. Yeah. And I tried to be, a little different. I didn't even own a pair of Air Forces at Hickory. I wore like Airwalks and stuff. I wore like Converses and I ain't even gonna lie. Like, there's no point in lying. Yeah. Hickory, I really feel like you are your experiences.
You are.
I didn't know. Now the music, I love my music. I loved, but Hickory loved, Z104 and one of their jams. It was different. But the dressing part, you are your experiences.
So Norfolk State, you came in.
I take that back. Unless when my dad bought my clothes, I was a little different. So I played both sides of the spectrum. Because my dad was like, man, what you wearing them Sears clothes for? So like, my mom worked at Sears, so he would try to, crack jokes. So like, man, you need some of this. So like, I had the Durangos and the Timbs.
So your dad helped you
be a little more urbanized.
Okay. So your mom proper, make sure you dress.
Mom clothes, it was khakis, it was button-ups, my dress shirt.
Look like somebody.
Always. My dad, you could wear a lime green jumpsuit. Why can't you? This is the age where you could wear those crazy colors or whatnot. Why can't you wear some Sauconys? Shoes like that or, whatever. But my first day was a little different. And back then, it still is. Financial aid was horrible.
That's what holds Norfolk State back.
The line was long and I had something.
I won't speak on that, but the business part of it
needs some work.
I hope one day they finally get it, because they were behind back then as far as like, remember a lot of back then, I don't know when you came, but 05, when I came in, a lot of it was they were slowly starting to put everything online, where registration was online. And
everything was strictly.
So y'all was still y'all waiting in lines to do all that.
Lines upon line upon line in the old building in the front.
And that's back then when they would just register you for 10 cents.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
That happened to me.
And I had to go because I was on a full scholarship, but I also had scholarships from other places, and it hadn't hit my account yet.
Oh, so your refund check was jumping.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was. My refund check was. And like most people, I'm not proud of it, man. That first year, refund checks, blew it. Gone. I went to do it so quick in MacArthur Center, and back then they put your clothes in the plastic.
The plastic.
You couldn't tell me nothing. I bought like 4 suits, shoes.
You bought suits?
Oh yeah. So I was that guy on campus. If you can ask some of my friends, I had a briefcase as a freshman, suit and tie. Like my first day, I only did that because my dad was like, "You don't need to be dressed up your first day.
Who's the Muslim?
You need to be, yeah." You tried it.
No, no disrespect. But that's what you thinking. Like, why is he so formal? Like,
I was very formal.
because when I got on, it was totally like not like that when we got on campus. There were some guys that were formal. They dressed up. They wore like they were going to work.
Mm-hmm.
They dressed the part. So you were that guy. You were business.
I was business all the time.
So when you stepped on over state, you were about your business. You didn't waste no time.
But mind you, I was a commuter, and I already had a full-time job, so I didn't
have time.
I didn't have time for that. And most people that knew me, the running joke was Joe already got a career because I was already a manager at McDonald's.
So that's why you had the reputation. Well, never mind.
I already had, I'm not saying I had money, but I wasn't like the starving, stay on campus type, college student where you hear about. And, I had a lot of friends like that. And many of them are my friends because I would take them off campus and take them to my mom's house to eat or take them to church. Like a lot of these friends I have, they were living on campus.
And you gave them family.
Yeah.
You gave them family.
I had the car. I had all that stuff. Like, hey, come with me to church. Hey, come to my mom's house and eat.
What was your car? What was your car?
No, my first
Joe's
car.
a car guy, by the way.
My first car was very humble beginnings. But I asked for that car. I had a 1989 Honda Civic, Burgundy DX.
You wanted that car.
I wanted that car because everybody at Hickory had we had a Honda club. So we had the Prelude Club.
So you had to be a part of the Honda.
I wanted a hatchback. My dad said, I couldn't get no hatchback. I'm going to get you this four-door because the four-door back then was cheaper. Because everybody was wanting the hatchback super much.
Yeah.
So I put a muffler on it. I put spinning hubcaps on it. Put a system in the back, subwoofers, you name it. I tricked that little car out. Had the LED lights all through it. You can tell me nothing. So I had that car in my first semester until the engine blew up. The engine blew on Christmas break.
Oh no. Oh, that's not bad
devastated.
Though. That's not bad though, because did you have a car by the time you went back?
Yeah, I had a car next week.
Yeah, see.
So that's when I started upgrading. I went from that to a 99 Nissan Altima.
That's when
with leather. And I said, okay, I like this. Had my little leather sunroof, I said, okay. I'm moving up. And I got back to campus and said, oh, shucks, Joe got money. And then, yeah.
Joe, when I first met Joe was literally, I thought Joe was just a carbon copy of Carlton Banks from Fresh Prince. Because when I met Joe, we was at Norfolk State at a football game.
Here we go.
I'm not going to tell it all for real because Joe's married now, so some stuff I'm going to leave out. But Joe was late to the game, first of all. He was late. It's a bunch of guys meeting. So next thing you know, I turn around, and Joe was the first person, but he had a group of people behind him. Once again, I'm going to leave it all just because some stuff needs to stay in the past. Joe had on a burgundy polo. He had on these... And he had on the Hoochie Daddy khaki shorts.
Before they were
Hoochie Daddy shorts. He had the knees out and some Spurs. And I was like, who is this? Like, who? But it wasn't the fact of what he had on. It was who he had with him, with what he had on. I was like, oh, this dude's the man. This dude's the man. Yeah. Like, and that's how you carried it.
Yeah.
So when you got in Norfolk State, what was the moment you said teaching?
Being under the concert choir, learning from Dr. Haywood, Mr. Butler. They saw something in me I didn't see in myself. They pushed me. Now, Mr. Butler was hard on me. Haywood wasn't as hard on me. And he was like, he was the overall person. The associate director was hard on me because he thought, not that I was privileged, but he knew I came from Hickory because he came to get me. They came and got me.
Yeah.
They came and got me from Hickory because I was the only me and another friend of mine went to NSU, and he transferred similar to you. He transferred because they didn't have his major, so he transferred to ODU.
Okay.
But he was like, "Oh, y'all were privileged, and I want to do something different." Yeah. And he saw something in me, so he never gave me the easy way out. But even with that, so I started conducting third year. Dr. Haywood failed me for advanced conducting.
I know that pissed you off.
It was only 4 people in the class. We had to do our final project for the semester. We had to conduct 2 songs. He had to choose them, and we literally had to learn them. Everybody else in the class, he gave them, so in the music world, we have 4-meter, 4/4, and then you have complex meter. So a typical 4/4 song, what you would hear, like a hymn, 1, 2, 3, 4, something simple, right? He gave them the simple stuff, and they conduct things. Mind you, the choir was the guinea pig. We had to conduct, and we had to literally conduct the choir.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know the song either. They were learning it for the first time, so it's kind of like we were teaching them. So everybody else had these simple songs. For me, he gave me this song that had like this crazy meter, super fast, super technical. I missed one measure.
And you failed.
And it really wasn't a miss. It was I took my approach and did something that he wouldn't do.
So you did your own little.
I did my own spin. It really wasn't correct, but it worked.
But it got it done.
But he didn't like it.
He didn't like how you got there.
He gave me a C minus.
Oh, I know you were high.
I'll see you next semester.
Excuse me?
Doc, what? You gave them Deep River. Deep River. Something simple. You gave me some, oh, praise the Lord, all your nations. I'm just doing all this conducting. Nailing it. You missed measure 32. Doc failed me. Saw him back. Gave me 2 more songs. Gave me an A. Fast forward.
Following semester. You
Following
have to come
semester.
back and take it.
Fast forward. Now, mind you, he is also alumni from Norcom.
Wow. Dr. Haywood is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Fast forward. Norcom, I was doing a song, one of his songs for one of our assessments, and I couldn't find it in print. So I called him. He said, sure, I got copies. So I went and met him in his office. At the time, he was chief of staff at Norfolk State.
I remember because everybody used to be in his office.
Yeah, he came back, so he retired, was off for like a year, and came back as chief of staff for 2 years. So he's in the big building, 6th floor.
Mm-hmm.
I go to his office. I'm like, wow, Doc, you really made it. He said, Harmon, I'm just doing the will of the people. He said, you remember when I failed you for advanced conducting? I said, yes, sir. How could I forget it? He said, look at you now. That's why I failed you. Look at you. Greatness follows you. And I'm just like, Doc, you really going to spin this thing?
That's how you going to spin it?
But he was correct. He said, if I had not pushed you, you would not know how far you could go. You would have rested on simply just doing what you thought was correct. Not what was really correct, but what you thought was correct.
Which would have started you down a path.
You would have rested on your laurels. You would have rested on being comfortable and complacent as a corps director or in the community. He spent all that into that.
I'll say, and I may be wrong, this is just my point of view. That's what HBCUs make them great. It's because if you go there and you show yourself different, they're going to push you to make sure that greatness in you comes out. Now, if you go in there and just lollygag, I mean, they're going to pass you through.
You're more than a number.
But you're more than a number. And at other universities, maybe more bigger universities, maybe more diverse universities, you have to fight just as hard to stand out versus if you were at Norfolk State, you came in and stood out. And I think that's one of the benefits of HBCUs that don't get talked about enough is that the care you get there. And you may not like it at first because going back, but you was on the full ride, you was fine. But failing is failing, but like you said, look where it would have got you. It made you go back and do it the right way. Mm-hmm. So that's when you realized you wanted to teach?
That was one of the, I take that back. So, okay, so sidebar, I can say this. There is a test called the Praxis for music education. You got to take this test in order to teach. And back then you had to take this test prior to the teaching.
Pause into action. You like this interview? You like the knowledge you're getting? You like our guests? We continuously do this week in and week out. So we'll be bringing content to y'all week in and week out. If you want to catch the next interview, like, subscribe, hit the ring bell for us, get notified on the next episode of the Hustle and Motivate podcast. Let's get back into it.
Could not pass this test in order to student teach.
How many times did you take it?
Like 5 times. And back then you had to wait 2 months in between each one. It's changed now. You can now, if you fail it, God forbid you fail it, you can fail it 1 week and take it the next week. Back then you had to wait a whole 2 months because it was actually in person. Now it's online. I mean, like you go to a testing center. Back then, testing center, but it was on pencil and paper. It kind of messed with my mental about teaching. Like maybe I'm not meant to teach. Maybe I'm not meant.
5 times.
Yeah. And I'm seeing my friends that came in after me
going right through it.
And I'm like, maybe this is not meant for me to teach. I listened to my advisors, switched my major from music education to music media the last semester. I had taken many education classes.
Your last semester
But
at
my last
State.
Yeah. Last year.
You went to music media.
I went to music media.
Which was more, I'm assuming, in the studio behind the board.
Studio, working, singing, performing.
So you took the music editing class.
Mhm.
I still got a bone to pick with Brown about that.
So,
whatever.
At this point, I'm kind of thinking like maybe this is not what I was meant to do. With media, I met Mr. Brown. He embraced me. He's like, look, I know what you're going through. Don't sweat it. We're gonna get you out of here, and you can still do what you want to do musically. So
Which was what?
At the time, I didn't know because now my mind is messed up because I'm like, I couldn't pass this dumb test in order to teach, and I'm thinking, sadly, this test literally kind of dictates your future.
It does.
Your trajectory on where you're going to be headed.
Uh-huh.
So I came out under media, graduated the same year, which gave me a different side of it, which helps me even with this and what I do now with gigging and performing on the side as well as with church or whatnot.
Because it taught you the behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. I mean, I know everything because I have a lot of friends like y'all that know more technical things.
But
I can get you through. Yeah. I have enough to get a show going. So I graduated with that and still didn't know I was going to do because I had a media degree. So,
but you learned music education majority of the time.
But I knew if I wanted to teach, I would have to face this
test
obstacle again. Graduated, became store manager for McDonald's, making good money, fine. And to a point, I was kind of complacent, kind of
on Battlefield, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was comfortable. I was making good money. Until March of 2012, when Mr. Butler calls me and says, Norcom is available. They need a choir director. I said, okay, what are you calling me for?
Because they know you had.
It's not me.
You didn't pass.
Right. He was like, I'm serious. They need a choir director. I said, well, Butler, you know what I'm going through. He said, I know that. They're going to give you a provisional license. You'll be a long-term sub to finish the school year, but you would give a provisional license to take that mic. But I'm thinking, I'm not good enough. I'm not. He's like, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Tell my mom about it. She was like, you've been waiting for this moment. Don't let one thing hold you back. I took the job. I've been here ever since.
Did you take tests?
Now, of course I did. That's part of my journey.
So you've been on a long-term sub for a while.
No, sir. So that's part of my journey. It's crazy how you think you're running from something and you get in your feelings about something and you can't do something on your time. And you still have to face that same obstacle later on in life.
You just go another route.
Route.
But maybe you teaching here made it easier for you to pass that test.
Absolutely. So I came as a long-term sub to finish the school year from March to the end of that school year. And like he said, I got a provisional for the next 3 school years. Still had this obstacle taking this test.
To take the test.
And it wasn't an easy route.
The provisional was for you to take the test in 3 years.
Correct.
Okay.
But I still had a lot of hurdles to cross, obstacles with the test and getting it passed. There were some dark days. The darkest day was when they said that you cannot return to this classroom.
So you couldn't take the test?
Yeah. And your job will be posted next week.
Is that because you took it down to the wire? You literally took it down?
I passed the test at the wire.
Because now the pressure was on you to pass the test.
Not even that. I mean, there was pressure on me, but it was so much. And it was down literally to the last wire. But the testimony made it more worthwhile. And I promised God, I said, whoever, once I get this done, whoever needs help with this praxis, whoever needs help with this, I want to be the person that you lead them to.
What was different this time?
I was older, more mature. By this point, I had moved out, had 2 vehicles. I needed my career.
But technically, you had.
I went part-time at McDonald's at the time. This was my full-time. So for 3 months, I worked 2 full-time jobs to make 1 salary because my pay was cut until I passed the test.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. That's part of my journey.
So it forced you
it's not all when people see me now, oh, you had it made. No, not always. I've always done what I needed to do to get things done. But there's always been obstacles, challenges along the way.
So
But that motivated me. Then that's what told me I'm meant to be here.
So do you feel like you just weren't mentally ready for that test yet when you were taking it out? You were forcing it?
I wasn't mentally ready, and I will be honest. I love my university so dearly, but when I came in, the test was not taught as prominent as it is now.
Guinea pig.
There wasn't a focus for
The
the
test.
test. Other universities didn't have the caliber of musicians that NSU had, but they had a course simply for the
The test.
test.
Gotcha.
Because guess what? The test would get you certified and what gets you the career, not
No.
musicianship. You know, you
Be
can
the
be the
best
best
musician.
player, the best singer, the best teacher, but you still need that accreditation. You still need that certification. And I feel like NSU at the time was dropping the bomb with many of us with teaching it. Now, since then, things have changed. They have a whole new person now that new people have come in to play that are really teaching the tests and teaching those values that you would need in education-based curriculum. Back then, it wasn't like that. It was super performance-based. Oh, you in the choir, you can sing. Oh, you in the band, you can play, but you can't pass the test.
So we have no real use for you, unfortunately.
So now I can say proudly that NSU is graduating a lot more graduates now because they have those things in place. Back then they were not.
They had to learn.
They had to learn.
You were that's a lot of it when the transition was made, or the going to another level or trying to improve. There is that, I won't say guinea pig
Right.
area, but that's those students like yourself in that specific group.
Mm-hmm.
They were learning as you were learning.
Absolutely. And I can say proudly that I was one of their success stories.
Over
That I did not come out as education because I had to switch over to media because of this test. But I still
Kept
came and
going.
taught, still overcame that, still passed the test, still did the work, and now here I am, where I am.
So now we're in Norcom,
Mm-hmm.
and once again, Portsmouth has its reputation. I used to live in
Absolutely.
Portsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't wait to get out of it.
Watch your mouth.
Couldn't wait to get out of it. But
You didn't find the right part to live in. But continue.
I didn't. I agree with him on that. I was not in the right part. Had I been where he was living at, I probably would still be in Portsmouth. But Joe doesn't live in the part of Portsmouth I lived in.
Correct.
But being here in Norcom,
Mm-hmm.
coming in and teaching, it almost was a parallel because it brought you back to what you thought when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
When you got in Portsmouth, was it, now I'm teaching, I need to get involved in the community? Because I'm sure you had your own place. You were in Portsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
When did you now say, okay, now that I'm here, I have the position, it's time for me to now serve the community?
My students led me to the community. Teaching here, IC Norcom is a historically black high school. It's only, I think, 3 left in the state, 2 of which are in this area, Booker T and Norcom. Other one is in Richmond area. We have a lot of challenges with poverty, with kids not having resources, with them not having this and that. But yet there is a rich legacy and pride about Norcom that is unmatched. Everyone in this building knows alma mater. Everyone here knows the school values. Everyone here knows not to step on the heart in the front of the building. Like everyone knows these traditions and things, which means that the school is enriched in the community. The problem is there's only one side of it. When you look at the data, statistics, we are a underperforming high school academically, socially, even musically, performing. I mean, I'll say that before I got here. There are a lot of challenges. Um, and the biggest challenge, in my opinion, are admin and teachers that become immune to their environment. And they expect less out of our students because of the
Where
data,
they are.
the statistics, the data.
So lowering the standards
Simply because, oh, well, if we just do this, we're fine.
versus
If we
making
just reach
them
that 70% on SOLs, we're fine.
versus helping them come up
Coming up because where they can be.
where they belong.
Mm-hmm. Arguably, I'm at one of the least performing high schools data-wise for SOL testing and graduation rate. But yet, when you hear my choir, you don't hear that.
Correct.
It's the same students. You got to find that correlation to bridge them together.
Okay.
So I will say it again to anyone. The students led me to community. What I mean by that, taking them home at the concerts when their rides don't show up, me seeing their living conditions,
Talking to them,
talking to their parents, seeing what they go through. They deal with far more than what I had to go through.
For sure.
So many of these kids are they're assisting with getting their siblings ready for school in the morning before they come here, preparing dinner. I can't make a concert, I got to work. They're dealing with life issues that we didn't have to deal with. I'm blessed I had to deal with that at that age. I wouldn't know where to begin at that age, dealing with what they deal with. Seeing that led me to the community needs more work. Not the kids, it's the community. And somewhere down the line, someone has failed them. Where do we fix it?
Why do you think it's important to give back to the kids that aren't, unfortunately, don't have the same opportunities you may have had, or didn't have that person come to them to see the potential in them and to help them get that potential? Why do you think that's important?
So giving back is personal because I truly believe everyone has obstacles, challenges in life where someone has to pour into them. And say you're down on your luck and I help you and you become successful. It's your chance now to help someone else to get to that same level. You never know where the pendulum may drop in your favor or not in your favor. So you helping someone helps someone else to help someone else. It's like a chain reaction. If one person helps somebody and that person helps someone, eventually your whole community is impacted. The problem is when I get mine and you get yours and we don't help
Or
anyone
somebody
else.
else?
The community stops. But yet people are still hungry. People are still homeless. People still need housing. People still need equitable education. But yet we've stopped because I got mine, you got yours to get.
So we don't worry
We've
about
stopped
people
giving.
behind us. Do you think that's what happened in Portsmouth? As a city?
Partially. There's many things that go into the aspect to where Portsmouth is, where it was, where it is now, and where it's headed. I will say that there's a lot of social inequalities that have transpired in urban cities, not only Portsmouth, but many urban cities across America, where you have the more affluent populations going to the suburbs
Mm-hmm.
and leaving a lower working class as a city base. And with that, declines in population means a decline in money, revenue coming in. Taxes increase, meaning services aren't as well as they used to be. Um, Portsmouth peaked in population, I believe, in the 50s at 117,000 people. Now, with that, Portsmouth is only 33 square miles. So it's a very dense city,
Mm-hmm.
very community based.
One big circle. That's
Mhm.
what I say.
In the 80s, we saw a shift of the more affluent people in Portsmouth and Norfolk going towards suburbs. Many people in Portsmouth left to go to Chesapeake or cross the border to Western Branch or Suffolk, now Harborview now. Norfolk saw the same decline, many of them went to Virginia Beach. And so when you see this across America, to where now you're left with your cities, large cities with a lower working class that don't make enough to carry the entire city base, which means the whole community is impacted. And when that happens, you leave the door wide open for crime and blight and drugs and things that your community did not see in previous time, but now are seeing because, hate to say it, the money left. I truly believe that's what happened in Portsmouth. You look at these areas, there weren't a lot of low income areas. And if they were low income, people still had pride in these areas. And it wasn't an area for you to stay in, it was a stepping stone to get to somewhere better.
Is that why you think, I'm going to go off kilter, is that why you think Portsmouth, I would say, is one of the few cities who have incentives for small businesses to come here
Mhm.
to try to grow?
Absolutely. So if you look at the makeup of Portsmouth, we have a lot of locally owned businesses, restaurants. When my wife came here, she said, "I cannot believe the plethora or variety of restaurants here."
No, it's some hidden jewels here.
You gotta understand, when a lot of these people left and packed up, a lot of your major restaurants left
Left
as
with
well.
them because that's they go where the people went.
But people still here and gotta eat.
Hmm.
So hey, I got a vision. I'm opening me a restaurant. I'm opening one too because the McDonald's closed or this closed. So we are heavily reliant on our local business community for us to have services. So I really feel like that's why we have so many locally owned restaurants. I'll even say this: when it comes to that Many of our larger cities, or even cities like Portsmouth, I wouldn't say we're a large city, but when you look at the ratio of low income housing, we took a chance on people. We tried to help people, and we at one point we had 5 different projects in our city that helped. That were their main mission at the time was to help, and when other cities would turn their eye on these people. I'll look at the homeless population. The homeless population is large here in Portsmouth, but many of them are not from Portsmouth. They're from other cities that surround us that won't help them.
I said, but you also have a lot of resources because my father works with the homeless. A lot of resources where churches are opening up, allowing them to sleep at night during the winter and providing a meal, and they can go down to the center and all that where they get their Social Security is sent there and stuff like that. So I will say they're probably the only place I know, maybe Norfolk, that has something for the homeless too. And Virginia Beach, but they're private entities that help out. There's a private entity that helps out Virginia Beach. But
it should be much larger.
It should be way larger. It's a private entity that says I'm going to help. The city does not help. But now you have Portsmouth. The city is providing these resources.
But I hate to call cities by name, but if you look at Virginia Beach,
I said let's talk about it.
And they have 465,000 residents. Why is a private entity responsible for helping the homeless or those impoverished? That's a problem.
I'll say for sure you don't. It's almost like the usual, because now my wife, she volunteers to help with the homeless in Virginia Beach because she just saw a need. She felt like, hey, because I went and met the people because I was looking for something, and I met the people who run it, and you realize when you talk to homeless people, you realize a lot of them didn't. It's not like they woke up and said, "Oh, I'm homeless."
No.
Situations happened, unfortunately, and they had no support to help them get through. And then people are like, well, they should be happy, whatever to get. Well, they're angry because a lot of them didn't ask to be here. A lot of them had great jobs, homes, different things. A lot of people are homeless from the pandemic by itself. So,
and many people that are homeless have mental health issues.
Correct.
And a lot of that comes from when you're in our elementary school system, high school, middle school, you're given resources.
Correct.
There are, IEPs, there are plans in place to help those with mental illness and whatnot. But then they graduate.
Then what?
And now you're considered grown. So there's a loophole because some of them don't want services. And their families have helped to try to get them services, but they won't take the services. And they'd rather be on the street on their own.
Because at least they're controlling.
They can control the narrative.
They control their destiny.
So that's a whole other aspect on it. There's a lot of people that don't have to be homeless that are homeless. But there are quite a few that are homeless that need it. That just don't have anywhere to go.
What is your vision for Portsmouth? Because you're in it, you're involved. You may be the only dude I know who's not the only person, but my dad is another one who got very involved once he got in the area. What is your vision for this city? Of course, if reputation, of course, we know to change it and try to, because we get in debates all the time. I always make smart little jokes just because I know it's going to piss them off. But what is your true vision for this city?
An equitable place for all citizens and for everyone that lives here, that they're given a quality life. Whether you live in Churchland, whether you live in Brighton, whether you live in Craddock, whether you live in Port Norfolk, whether you live in Parkview, Park Place, wherever you live in Portsmouth, that you are given a fair shot. And not just a fair shot, but you are successful in that. An area free of crime, an area where, well, I'll take that back because that's a perfect world that's free of crime. An area where the police are well staffed, that EMT services are abundant.
Okay. So because that probably contributes to the narrative of, oh, it's dangerous over there. Is that because low staff and low resources? People are people. Everybody's going to do what they do.
So there are a lot of false narratives about Portsmouth. Some of them, I will not say that they're not true. But I see a lot of false stuff online and sly comments. And I hate to say it, from people that are Portsmouth bred. There's nothing worse than me going online on Facebook or somewhere and seeing somebody that's from Portsmouth that lives here talking about their city being bad. I hate that. If you live here, make it better. The same way I see you behind a computer screen saying nothing, doing nothing, but you're texting about it. You're doing nothing to help the community. Have seen you at the first soup kitchen, the first homeless event, the first one night, the police service event that we're having one tonight. But you're doing all this talking, but you have nothing to prove that you helped the community. I hate that. If we talk about our community, then the others talk about the community.
Sure.
These false narratives, oh, it's so dangerous, so this, so that. There are some areas that are very challenged. No question, that are in need. Yes, we are understaffed, but in terms of what the state should say we should have on staff,
for sure,
our police are doing a phenomenal job of what they got.
Doing the best they can.
Doing the best they can. Now, some of that comes from city resources that should be given more to these entities, police, fire, medical transponders. But this false narrative of all of Portsmouth being bad is so false. When you look at, oh, they got a high crime rate. Okay. 33 square miles, less than 100,000 residents. The ratio will always be off. Statistically, we will always never come out where we should come out. Because if we have 3 murders in Portsmouth and there's 3 in Virginia Beach, it's always going to look like it's less in Virginia Beach because they have more than 400,000 residents. It will never be equitable. So stop comparing a grape to an orange. Stop doing it. Number 2, oh, there's nothing here. The schools are horrible. Oh, that's a big one. Oh, the schools are horrible. I've been here for 12 years, and I know
some bad schools in Virginia Beach.
Horrible, but
I know that for a fact.
The level, the quality of education and resources given to our students is second to none. There isn't a student in Portsmouth that pays for uniforms to be in performing arts or instruments. Other cities, you got to do instrument repair, instrument rental, pay for uniforms, all that. Everything is given to you here. All you got to do is, if you want to be in it, you can do it. And I've quickly found out in Portsmouth that if you want something done, if you want to do something, then they will find a way for you to do it. When my kids go to all-state chorus and the bill is over $500 per person, the city fronts the money for all of our kids to go. It's that kind of sense because they want to make sure that these kids are given opportunities. And we always talk about the bad. Okay? And partially, I hate to say it, partially because we have a news channel right in our backyard that is
all they do is holler.
All they do is holler about us because they want to be somewhere else. They've been trying to get to Virginia Beach for years. And they can't get there because they're saying that there's a need for news coverage in Portsmouth.
But not the positive stuff that goes on.
So they're going to cover everything.
Because there was a fish fry something this weekend here?
Yeah.
No coverage.
None.
For the community?
None. We have a concert series every Friday in Old Town. No coverage.
No, that's another thing. I never knew y'all had that. Sunset on Thursday? Mm-hmm. Nothing about it.
Now that has grown. Now I don't know how you haven't known about that.
I haven't heard
because
about
we moved it, so we had a lot of backlash. We'll pause. So I'm also the chairman for Parks and Recreation for the City of Portsmouth, and in that role, that helps me to know about festivals and whatnot. All the festivals that come through the City of Portsmouth are coming through Parks and Rec. Mm-hmm. So Sunset Thursdays, anything in City Park, the recreation centers, Umoja Festival, these things that bring the city revenue comes through Parks and Recreation. We got backlash because we moved Sunset Thursdays from High Street Landing to Festival Park. It was a good move. It was a good problem to have. We moved it from High Street Landing because we were exceeding 3,000 people per night, per Thursday.
Which is good.
But it was not a space. Where we were coming, it was by the ferry dock. It could only hold safely 1,000 people. We're bringing over 3,000 a week. Mm-hmm. It was a liability issue on the city. We moved to Festival Park. Festival Park is a new park that we've created outside of the pavilion, our amphitheater. It's a piece of land that had been up for sale for years. The city took hold of it, and now it's called Festival Park. It can hold safely over 6,000 people, safely. So we moved it there for that. And even now, people have found where it is. And every Thursday, unless it's rain, it has been a success. You know, it's these things that we bring to our city, resources and festivals and events that are helping to change the narrative that Portsmouth is just for poor people and for ignorant people and for uneducated people. That's a
Who can
false
afford to
narrative.
live in other
That can afford
cities.
it. Some I could have moved anywhere in this area, and I'm not
No.
saying that to brag, but I've been blessed that my family, chill. I've been blessed that me and my wife don't want for anything. God has supplied all of our needs. We could have moved to any area we wanted to, but she knew my vision for Portsmouth and that it involved me living here.
How do you find time to do all this? Teaching, community, Portsmouth Park and Rec, very active in your church,
Two
husband,
churches.
two two churches, one in Portsmouth, husband and father now. Where do you find the time to do all this?
Very carefully. My calendar would kind of uh, give you anxiety.
Because you can easily say, I'm doing enough here.
Mhm.
Because you don't take vacations.
No.
Because just like we're shooting this, you're on summer break.
Yeah.
We're here at the school.
Yeah.
Where do you find how?
Very carefully. So I use my time wisely. I do carve out time to where I'm home. I'll be honest. People assume, oh, you're so busy, you don't have time for this. 9 times out of 10, after 7 o'clock, I am home with my family. Or I make it work in terms of if I have an event that morning, I'm home that afternoon. If I have an event that evening, I'm at home the whole morning.
To make sure family time is
Family
always first.
And I quickly realized that, I realized it when I got married, but when I got married, but having Mary has completely changed that aspect because she needs more of me. And I don't want her saying, oh, my dad is great here, but he can't do nothing at home. It ain't work that way. We're not going to do no absenteeism around here. And that's in the back of my mind. I would never be absent from my kids, ever, or my wife, ever. Family first. But very strategic. So all my meetings don't fall on the same day.
For sure.
Like Parks and Rec, we meet once a month on Wednesdays. Now, sure, we have an email thread that we keep going, but that's something I can do from my phone. I'm now a board member for the Virginia Symphony, which I am actually in the process now of bringing the symphony to Portsmouth. Symphony on the River, which will be coming soon in 2024. And we're also doing a Black History event or MLK event in the winter months at a local church. But I am the kind of like the Portsmouth liaison to bring the symphony to Portsmouth. That meets once a month. Like these things meet once a month. Now, church schedule, of course, that's every week, but it's strategic. I'm not at the same church every day. Here, I control the calendar here. I'm the co-director, so I control what I can and cannot do. I know my limits. As a young director, I took on everything. You name it. We were singing for everybody's church service, not church service, but concerts and fish fry anniversary. No. And now I hate to not hate to say it, but it needs to be worthwhile, not only for the kids, but for the community. You know what I'm trying to do here? If I'm coming to your church, what do you have to pour into my students? You know, I do the unconventional route. I don't believe, and I don't knock anyone for doing it. I don't believe in your typical fundraisers, you know, donut sales and selling fruit. If I'm teaching performers how to sing, we're performers at that point. You are now a professional, so use your gifts to make room for you. We put on a full concert for you, but for a donation. Why? Because I have professional singers. I've trained them, and I take value. I take pride in knowing that I've trained them for this level. You're not gonna see us out in the street sounding any kind of way. And my kids tell you straight, I don't put no trash on stage.
You be fussing at them
all the time. But they know it comes from a place of love.
For love, because you want them to be excellent.
Right. They know it's from love. It's never out of hate.
Plus, they're representing Norcom.
Yeah. And they'll tell you they love seeing YouTube when they see me upload a new video on YouTube with them. Oh, that's us. We sound great. Yeah, because you can do this as well. Don't let anyone dumb you down because of your circumstance, where you live, what you drive, all that kind of stuff. No, it is about pure talent and how bad do you want it.
And it's also, I'll say, because when you brought me and Valente in just for the chorus Christmas concert, the excitement they heard on the playback and seeing themselves on, professional cameras, it's like, okay, you're giving them a taste of, look, if you put in the hard work, I'll make sure you have the best sound, and I'll make sure you look the best. You just got to give me your best.
Absolutely. Case in point, News Channel 3 has Sounds of the Season every year, where they record choirs across Hampton Roads area for their Christmas or winter, holiday stuff. They used to come here every year. They try to make all these schools. They try to do at least 30 schools in that time period, and it gets to be a lot. Um, they used to come here in person to record. Due to COVID, things changed. Um, because of the product that I've built here, they were confident enough to say, I have someone to record for me. I will send you the recordings that I have for the past 3 years, which have been you and your company. It is that kind of thing that they know. I'm proud to say that Norcom now has a quality product, quarterly, and our band has always been top notch.
For sure, for sure.
Whether what changes has been, we've always been musically the best of Portsmouth. I'll say it on camera, the best of Portsmouth. Um, why? Because you know this from the black community. If we have anything else, we have music.
Have music.
Music kind of the cookout ain't started until the music starts.
Sunday morning, mom.
Saturday morning,
mama.
Saturday morning, mama cleaning up.
Sunday morning, she getting ready for church. It's music.
The cookout. Put the music on, or it ain't a real cookout yet. It's that kind of, and we've just molded it to where we're teaching them different things. We give them more than what they're given on a daily basis. We know they know R&B and gospel. We offer them classical and other things and marching styles and whatnot.
To learn something other than that.
Absolutely.
Because you never know what your passion may be. Classical may be what speaks to them.
Right.
Why should we not have the same opportunities that other? So let's wrap this up. So it's a guy coming from Hickory High School. A whole nother spectrum, not designed because that's just where you lived at. Mm-hmm. That's just where you lived at. Would you still be where you are now if you didn't start at Hickory and learned a whole nother part of what music is, then came to the other side of Norfolk State and came back to your people that look like you?
Every experience in my life was orchestrated for a reason. I grew up in Hickory to learn their culture, well versed in classical music and all of that, and seeing resources abundant, swim lessons, and you name it, whatever you wanted, it could be done. Now, my mom was not rich, but she made sure I had what I needed. Mm-hmm. And she worked and fundraised, whatever I needed, I did. I never knew I wanted for anything. Transfer that to my North State experience. I learned the urban side of education. I learned more about African American composers and just our sense of community. Transferring it to now, I'm teaching. I'm at an urban high school that if I rested on my laurels and if I rested on simply just being basic, I would just teach gospels and go home. Mm-hmm. Teach my kids classical music. Why? Because I learned that from Hickory. I know what it takes to be a well-rounded musician. Taking that approach for well-roundedness into the community, to be a well-rounded citizen, to help others. Where you may be in need, I may not be in need, I'm going to help you because why? I believe in you. And I believe that your greater is coming, whether you see it or not. And once you get your greater, you help someone else get their greater. So I really, truly believe that every sense of the word community experiences molds a person. And in my case, it has molded me to the man I am now.
Final question. What's next for you and what's your 5-year plan for you and Portsmouth? Mayor?
So my friend's been calling me Mayor Harmon for the past 10 years. It's kind of been like a running joke, but it's kind of been nervous to kind of see that it is becoming a reality. In 5 years, I would at least see myself on city council, or possibly mayor. But with that, it's not just simply about a title. It's about being that person.
So you can be in the position to make the change.
There's so many people that are holding titles that do no work. You have the title, but you're not helping your community. You have the title, but you know where the resources lack, but yet you turn a deaf ear and you listen to others to influence your opinion when you know it's not the right thing. If I was mayor of Portsmouth, wow, it would be a dream come true. But not only a dream, I would make my dream a reality in terms of helping the community, the whole community. I feel like we get so caught up in ourself and self needing this and self needing that, and we forget about others. And I'm a man of faith, and I believe that we should always help others. I know the poor will always be among us, but it don't have to be the amount of poor it is now. We can still pour into people to help them to reach their goals and be successful. So 5-year plan, I would easily say that I would see myself in city government. I'll leave it at that. I'll say city government, whether that's being city councilman, being a mayor, or even being moved up, within city manager or something like that. Something in city government. Just being a bridge for people, helping people, and building connections, and just being who God created me to be.
All right. This is the Hustle and Motivate podcast. My man, Joe Harmon. I appreciate you, man, for all the knowledge you dropped, man. Please look out for this guy. If you're in Portsmouth, don't say anything negative about it because he's going to get mad.
Yep.
But he's here doing the work. If you need him, how can they reach you?
Facebook, Instagram, my email. I guess we'll leave in the comments below.
All right. This is a true saying. Will's not here to say it, but I'm going to say it, and I think it truly is a great example of what you stand for. Always respect the hustle and motivate others in the process. See y'all next time.